Hello, this is Matt Garvey doing my Persuasive Speech for my communication course. Here is my audience. And yes, I know we're supposed to have 5. We are short 1. We weren't going to have any more kids, so we're short 1. All right. And here we go. All right. Thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it. What does optimism look like? Well, certainly not like November 8th, 2016, which is the date of our next presidential election. We really should demand more in our presidential elections than given the opportunity to vote for the lesser of two evils. The lesser is still evil. What if we had another option? Or what if we had 2 more options? What if we heard ideas stemming from more points than polar opposites of opposite sides? How would that change our process? And how would it change our involvement? How would it increase our participation? Over the next few moments, I would like to take a brief look at our election history, where we are today, what shapes today, and also possibly a future going forward with a third party. First off, the initial presidential elections, there were no parties. The Founding Fathers wanted ideas to come from individuals and stand on the merit of the idea of those individuals and not have it associated with particular parties. Also, our first presidential elections did not have party tickets, where an individual would cast a vote for this side or the other side, the president and the vice president. The ballots that were cast were for, they would cast ballots for 2 candidates. And then in the end, after all the votes were tallied, it was the highest vote getter was the president, the second highest vote getter was the vice president. This process or this idea was shortly lived, or was shortly lived, as alliances soon took shape, and from that, parties were formed in opposition to those alliances. So the division began quite some time ago, almost right from the beginning. So where we are today is really no surprise. Which brings me to where we are today. And is the 2-party system still functional? Why don't we only have 2 major political parties? That's a rhetorical question. Division in regards to job security is actually beneficial in our current political system. In what other organization or corporation is conflict and having adversarial relationships promoted? Creating conflicts is beneficial to your job security. Having an idea and having the extent of that idea actually only resonate with 4 in 10 people is your goal. You don't want to go beyond that. And knowing that the opposing candidate is going to have an idea that only resonates with people on their side of the aisle, and actually avoiding the middle ground where the clear demarcation point lies, you actually do want to avoid that. You don't want those lines blurred. You want clear division. Think of how infuriated we are with TV subscriber options. We have cable versus dish. There's limited options, and we actually demand more from our cable subscribers than those limited options. But here we are 5 months away from an election, and we're told we have 1 of 2 candidates to choose from. And we not only accept that, we embrace it. Would any organization, company, college, or university with a hiring need open the application up to only 2 applicants? Only accept 2 applications? If you heard of a company or organization that only accepted 2 applications for a job need, would you think, what type of talent are they missing out on? What ideas are they missing out on by only having 2 applicants for a position? November 2013 U.S. News compared our 2-party political system back to the heyday of the automakers, where there were only 3 automakers in the U.S. and they controlled 98% of the sales. They were happy with their share of the market. They didn't have to change. They didn't have to improve. They didn't have to innovate. They were good with what they had. So now my question is, why a third party? My answer is, why not? What is the issue with having more than two options? Why would someone be opposed to having more ideas? Right now, though, what are the hurdles of a third party? You hear it's a wasted vote. There's no access to debates, and the message isn't heard. In fact, it's squelched. This year, more than ever, voters are looking for an alternative, and the polls reflect this. From the June 2016 Salon published ABC poll results, 47% of voters would consider a third-party candidate with Clinton and Trump as the major party nominees, almost half. A poll conducted by Schoen Consulting found 20% of voters would actually vote right now for a candidate other than Clinton and Trump. An additional 17% would look at it. So right there, you're almost at 40%. So even when the polls indicate the desire for a third party, but no one is able to emerge, what is the path? Well, I think it has to begin at the local level. National elections are too great a platform for a candidate to break through and gain traction. There is too much opposition. Local level, though, is where third parties need to take root. Once you have the local level, state or counties and towns, cities, then you can look at the state level. I know this is already happening in some areas. I'm talking about further growth. Once you have elected officials at the local and state level, you start to gain legitimacy. Once you have legitimacy, then you're invited to debates, then your message is heard, and you're looked at a viable option as a opposition to the two major parties. So in conclusion, a viable third party would be beneficial for so many reasons. Provide options where now we have none. Reduce the divide that currently exists due to opposing political factions. And open up discussions beyond us and them and we and they. This doesn't happen overnight, and the steps will be incremental, but it's needed to find true leadership and avoid elections like we're going to have this fall. Thank you. I appreciate your time.